Earlier on Friday, ESPN.com came out with an article by Pete Thamel talking about the the ASUN and the WAC conferences continuing their partnership with an effort to move to FBS. So I thought, who should we talk to? Well, that didn't take too long to think of. We got it. EKU Athletic Director Matt Roan joins us again on the show. Matt, again, thank you for taking the time for us. We're excited to chat with you today.
I appreciate you having me. It's always good to talk to you.
Yes, sir. So, we talked the last time we talked on camera. We talked about conference realignments and some of the craziness that goes on and everything like that. And it kind of looks like basically you all, along with other universities, came to the decision, hey, let's just do it ourselves. Let's create our own path, basically, to get up to the FBS system. So, I guess to start off with, how did this come about?
I think it really goes back to really the fall of 2020, first part of 2021, when we decided to join the ASUN conference. We didn't really make any secret about the fact that our goal at that time was to become the best FCS conference that we could possibly become, and I think we were well on our way with that, with aspirational schools, with schools that challenge us to be better and requiring us to really up our game. But we were vocal even at that time, Vince, about, the goal here is to create an FBS pathway. I think we saw kind of where things were going, maybe didn't know the word transformation committee yet, but knew that we were kind of going through this unprecedented time and this period of vision and growth and even transformation. And so really kind of going all the way back, I think, to the early part of the fall, I think those conversations picked up a little bit. We have enjoyed our partnership with the WAC for the 21 and 22 seasons. And it's been different each year, where the first year was a little bit more of a round robin schedule where we crowned the champion based on those results. And this past year, we had really kind of a 2-division format where we crowned a champion based on the power ranking. And we knew that we wanted to create, moving forward, a single sport football conference with schools that are aligned and share the same aspirations. And then to create, again, that FBS pathway, certainly understanding that there's a process that we still need to go through. There's boxes that we need to check, but we're confident in our ability to do so. We've got the right people on board, the right experts helping us on this path, and think that it's really a best case scenario for us to continue to enjoy our membership in the ASUN with, regional competition, places that our fans can get to, but expanding that net a little bit more for football. And trying to compete at the highest level.
Well, yeah, and that's definitely a big question that's come up immediately with this is, so you got Stephen F. Austin, Abilene Christian, Utah Tech, Southern Utah, Tarleton State coming from the WAC, EKU, Austin Peay, Central Arkansas, North Alabama from the ASUN, and then UT Rio Grande Valley in 2025 as they're establishing their program. One of the big question marks has been, well, man, that's a lot of travel for a football program throughout the year because there's a lot of teams out west. So, I know this is something that, as a result of circumstance, right? There were other things that kind of fell into place that helped lead to this direction.
I certainly, I think circumstances, dictate it somewhat, but I think opportunity dictates it on another level. For us, I kind of go back to what some of my mentors have shared with me over the course of the past 2.5 years. And when we had a chance during COVID to sit down and ask, a peer at JMU, for example, really, where do you see this thing going? And the comment that he made to me was, hey, if we could keep everything more regional, but really align ourselves from a football standpoint with those that compete at the highest level, like JMU was, that would be something that was interesting to us. And I think the same holds true for us here is that, again, we love our membership in the ASUN. We love the fact that even with the recent departures, we have 11 teams in great markets and a growing part of the country, a great mix of public and private institutions, but that are all chasing something and all trying to be better tomorrow than they are today. But I think when you look at the geography of the ASUN and the WAC, they get to enjoy the benefits of their league, and we enjoy the benefits of ours, really stretched from Seattle and California all the way to Fort Myers. So really kind of a cool footprint and how that would work. But from a football standpoint, really no difference than a lot of the other leagues that the EKU has often mentioned. I would argue that Cedar City or St. George is really no different than Las Cruces or El Paso. Nacogdoches, Texas, or Tarleton, Texas, or Abilene, really no different than traveling to Ruston, Louisiana, or Huntsville, Texas. And so for us in that way, I think you see geography somewhat thrown out the window when you're talking about conference realignment, and certainly this does expand us more than we've ever had in our athletics history. But I think it's in some ways the best of both worlds, trying to contain and maintain that geography for everything, but knowing that you do have to expand it a little bit more for football.
Doesn't matter that, I mean, every conference is expanding. So Big Ten's got California teams now in it, or will soon. So it almost seems like with football, especially the conference regionality of it, it's kind of going away across the board, not just in small conferences, but or younger conferences, I don't even call it. But even the Power Fives are expanding to broader and broader landscapes.
Yeah, I think there's no disagreement there with USC and UCLA joining the Big Ten. Texas and Oklahoma joining the SEC. The American, I guess, is extended all the way, or at one point was from really UConn to Dallas, and still to this day is from Philadelphia to Dallas. And so, this fits that. But I think even more than just the geography, it's the like-minded, shared vision, common aspirations that makes this work. And really, and again, I say the best of both worlds. It's maintaining geography, but competing at the highest level possible.
Is there? I don't know how much information you can give on this right now, but is there a clause in the agreement that, hey, if you get an invite from another conference, you got to be committed to this league, because it can't get off the ground if everybody runs in a year because they get invited somewhere else. So is there a commitment level that is being asked upon the schools that are involved in this?
Right now, those conversations, I'll defer to our president a little bit more on that. Our president, his counterparts, both in the ASUN and the WAC, those football playing institutions, have, I don't want to speak for him, but they have committed to one another that, hey, this is a model that we like. This is something that is worth pursuing. And I think that's where our focus is right now. Sure.
Because I know a lot of people are going to think, there's that old phrase, the grass is always greener, and whether or not it is still the argument. But if, we've seen it in the ASUN, just in a couple of years of the ASUN, where there's been an invite and all of a sudden, boom, they bolted. Now, granted, that was going to be a step up to the FBS from FCS and things like that. And this ideally would take at least that aspect away from it. But that being said, the transition period, the NCAA and FBS, there's a 2-year transition period typically. So when does that period start for this new conference?
I think that's going to be dictated by the coming weeks and months as we work. Again, I talked about our commissioner, the commissioner of the WAC, other experts that we're going to lean on as those individuals work with the NCAA, as we have conversations, and I know the article mentioned it, conversations with the college football playoff and seeing how those things would work. I think any time period or timeline is going to be dictated on what those approvals look like and how long it takes to get those. Certainly for us, how we would make that transition. We want to make sure that we protect. Yes, it's forward-looking, but we want to make sure that we're protecting what we currently have to the best extent possible as well. So, very mindful of those things, and we'll let that process play out.
Sure, and I know in the article that Pete Thamel posted, there is this optimism that there's the immediate thought was there'd be pushback from some of the other conferences, but he doesn't name his source, but according to his source, there's optimism that, hey, there's really no grounds to argue against this conference coming in and things like that. So it sounds like everybody's, obviously, until everything's done, you can't say for sure, but it seems like everybody's pretty optimistic. Yeah, this is something that's going to work out.
Yeah, I think there's certainly optimism, if not hope. And I think for us, we've not been shy about this desire. Really kind of, again, going all the way back to fall of 2020. We were vocal that this was the move that we wanted to make. We wanted to be in a part of the country that was growing, that was thriving, and we also wanted to compete at the highest level. And I think this potentially could accomplish both of those things. But For us, I know our league officials have been in Indianapolis. They've had some, I think, productive conversations. We are, I think, pretty firm in our belief that there is precedent. There is a path forward to do what it is that we've set out to do here, and we're excited to see how it all plays out.
Just a couple more for you. Austin P announced earlier this year they had a plan to be FBS by 2025. So is that, I guess you probably can't answer this, but was that announcement already with these conversations going on with what's going on with this conference?
Yeah, I don't want to speak for them, but again, Austin P is a tremendous partner of ours. They joined the ASUN really a year after us, but we were having those conversations and certainly wanted them to be a part of what it is that we were trying to do as our own institution. And I could say the same for North Al and Central Arc. And I think for Gerald, I don't want to speak for him and the leadership at that institution, but certainly they've been a big part of this conversation as well.
Does it mean anything for the other sports, baseball, basketball, softball, volleyball, all those kinds of things as well? I would assume the goal is eventually to have everybody at the FBS level, but obviously this conference that's being formed is a football only conference. So what does that mean for the other sports?
Well, when you talk about the FBS level, Vince, that is just a football thing.
Okay. That's true. Good point.
We are proud members of Division I. We are proud members of the ASUN conference, and for us, we are in, again, a part of the country with the right type of institutions in thriving markets where our alums are, where prospective students are. We are investing in those programs to give them the best chance to be successful. And we had a great fall with our cross country team winning a men's championship, finishing really, really well in the regional. Our women's team finished third. Our women's soccer team advances to the conference semis for the second year in a row. Our volleyball team, I think, had the most wins since 2015, and then we capped that off with the football championship here a couple weeks ago. That league has been great for us in so many ways, and so we're going to continue to push and continue to invest and try to make it where we're winning consistently and comprehensively across the board.
Yeah, and it's an exciting time. Of course, pretty much as soon as Christmas is over, you get into conference play in the basketball leagues. I know the men have a game on the 30th of December. I don't remember if the girls play an ASUN game before the new year or not, but it all starts right there. And we're excited to talk basketball. We've got Tayshawn Comer coming on here a little bit later as well. Talk some men's basketball, and our women's guest didn't work out this week, but we'll get them on soon as well. There's a lot of excitement around the program, the EKU athletics. With new stuff being built, the restoration or the changes being made to the facilities and things like that continue to be a great improvement. And the success continues to be there, right? It's so exciting to see. The baseball success last year, the recruiting success, the things that we've seen through the football year, like you said, the cross country, the volleyball's different improvements there as well. So a lot of the good things happening at EKU. And everybody we talked to, they start at the top with President McFadden. They mention you. It goes from the top down, right? That's what makes EKU so great.
We are very fortunate. We have a tremendous board led by our chair, Mike Eves, vice chair, Alan Long, two guys that EKU is important to. I get to work for the president, somebody that believes in the value of athletics, a president's cabinet that appreciates the contributions I think that a healthy athletics department makes to an institution such as EKU. But yeah, when you talk about the momentum, you mentioned several things. I'm kind of lonely in here today because our staff, our volleyball coaches, they have all already moved out of AC. So they are in Commonwealth Hall. I'm the last one that needs to still pack up his office. But other than basketballs, both men's and women's, who won't leave until after our conclusions of our seasons, this project is full speed ahead. We're always looking for other things that we can do and do responsibly. But I think the best is yet to come, and appreciate everything that you do, everything that our fan base does, our alums, people that are so generous and supportive. Together, we're optimistic about where we're going.
Well, I'm looking forward to the dedication of the Sports Stove press box in the new. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't have the money to make that happen. But maybe one day. Listen, Athletic Director Matt Roan, EKU. We always appreciate your time. And again, this was asked for this interview earlier in the day. So thank you for taking the time for me today. Hope that you have a great Christmas and Happy New Year. We'll see you around, I'm sure, in the basketball arena here shortly.
I appreciate you. Thank you, man.
Yes, sir.